Joining the show tonight, O-lineman turned wide receiver coach to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, a man whose feet will grace the turf at FENWAY Park this fall when the Bears play in the annual Secretary's Cup game, Coach Hudson Dunaway. Coach, what's going on, man?
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking about Secretary's Cup and Coast Guard football. Let's not hold the O-lineman phrase too close. That was a past life, a lot of pounds ago, but I
Yeah.
still love the big uglies up front. I love we call them the Grizz. They're my guys still. So
I love that for you. I love that for the fellas. But, of course, before we get into anything else, O-line coach to O-lineman, in the playing days to now wide receiver coach, that feels, damn near sacrilegious.
I like to think that my receivers are going to just block really well.
Okay.
But really what it turned into was I actually got recruited as an offensive lineman, and because of our summer program, I lost so much weight that I played tight end my freshman year, and then my sophomore year I had gained enough weight back to move back inside to the
That's
in
awesome.
the trenches. But so I played 3 more years O line, and then how the military works, they say, hey, you got to look good in the uniform. So get rid of some of those pounds. And so I did it. And now I look more the part. And when people ask me, recruits ask me, oh, you played O-line. They're like, what, were you a 225
Yeah.
pound guard? I was like, nope, I was about
Yeah.
280,
Was it sprint
285.
football, right? You ever
Yeah,
gotten that one before?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe me, I didn't sprint much. I'll tell you that right now. So,
That's good.
yeah.
I like that, man. And to get, I guess, right into the meat and potatoes of it, the announcement comes back in November, right? This isn't new news necessarily, but as we ramp up towards the season, of course, we put out the graphic the other day and you and I got in touch. This is something that has been on my radar, but I wanted to really dive into it, right? The Coast Guard, the Merchant Marine Academies, they're facing off in FENWAY Park. That in itself, the headline alone is going to sell tickets, right? But give me the initial impressions from you and the guys and what fans can expect from what I have to imagine is going to be a pretty incredible atmosphere and game day experience.
So I had a bit of a back pocket intel on it before
Okay.
even some of the Coast Guard folks did. I worked in the athletics department a little last summer. I'm an active duty officer, so when I wasn't teaching, I got detailed out to the athletics department, and our AD said, "Hey, we have these really nascent talks about playing in the Fenway Park for the Secretary's Cup." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a change from Cadet Memorial Field." So we went up there in August of last year, about a year ago now, actually,
Okay.
and had a good walkthrough with them. And the Fenway group has been unbelievable. They are rolling out the red carpet for us, and it's going to feel like a big time college football game. And I think maritime industry is all in on it. Coast Guard headquarters is starting to pick it up and run with it. And I know that our Boston, now it used to be District 1. About a week ago, it got changed to District Northeast.
Okay.
They're planning shops running with it, and I'm excited to see the final product because I just keep hearing things about what might be
Mm-hmm.
between the uniforms and the sponsorships and things like that. I'm just excited to go out there and try to beat Kings Point for a second year in a row. That's what makes me most excited because I try to tell the guys all the time, you get them once and let's go get them again. Let's go get them again. Let's go get them again. So that's the most exciting part for me. And it also comes with the territory of being a coach. We got to get these guys ready to play like September 6th. Like we don't want to be, 0 for going into that game. So if
Yeah.
you let something like that creep up on you, next thing you know,
Yes.
and I don't want to throw any shade to my father, but he played at Navy, and his senior year at Navy, they were 0 for going into Army, but they managed to win that one. So the season
Man.
was salvaged. I just don't want to be in
Yeah.
that position. So
Absolutely not, man. And you talk from that experience, you guys win it very recently. You've got experience winning the Secretary's Cup too, your final year on the roster. From what I could tell, you guys go and take that one. The years prior, not so much of a favorable result for the Coast Guard up there and the Bears, but you finish out and you close out on that note. That's got to be a feeling that you constantly chase after the fact.
absolutely. And I think I tell my guys that too much. And I'm glad they got that monkey off their back because I was telling them all the time they were so tired of hearing, oh, well, coach said last time they beat him was when he was a senior. Last time they beat him and so I think they've got over that. And so now they don't understand is I'll just get on the next thing and I'll say, guys, our last winning season, class of 2019, 2018 fall season,
Yeah,
7-3. So now I have that to use on them. But I
that's
I
good.
love motivating these guys, and I love the rivalry in and of itself. And I got to play in it with my brother. I got to play. I got to watch it before I was even a cadet because he's older than me. I got
Mhm.
to see it as an alumni, and now I'm in it as a coach, and it's a really cool rivalry that I hope people will tune into and check out because it's worth it.
And that's what we were saying. Like, is there a more qualified person to talk about this than the guy who has lived and breathed it and has seen it in so many different capacities? You kind of mentioned right there. And kind of like you said, the game has been split the last couple of years and maybe turned a little bit more to one side than the other. But how do you describe the buildup on a quote unquote, air quote, regular yearly basis to now what you expect going into this fall? How do you describe that buildup in the game day atmosphere and environment to someone like me who hasn't had the chance to catch one in person?
So I'm going to speak to it when we played it at Coast Guard the first time it was on ESPN in 2017. So
Okay.
that was my junior year. Our stadium is about a capacity 5,000, 5,500. We had three rows deep on the retaining wall and the sideline fences,
Man.
or sorry, end zone fences. And it was the first time it was on ESPN. We had the camera mounts everywhere, so we had the lifts in the end zones, and we had some platforms, and it is a very well attended, well respected game. The pageantry is pretty cool for Division III, and where we play at Coast Guard, we have a beautiful stadium. It's right on a river, and I think the time we played them at our place, a submarine was actually going through the river with a Navy escort at the same time. So there
Come
was
on.
a lot of cool military stuff going on at the same time, and the ESPN crew they ask for the game every year because they love doing it so much, and
That's
um,
so
and
sweet.
and the game itself is just so cool to the march on, the flyovers. We do well at home all year. We tell people most of the time we do pretty well at home because the first quarter, at least, if there's a flyover, we're kicking off, and the other team's like, "Whoa, where are we? What are we getting into?" So we usually have a good first quarter, and we try to ride that into the second. It doesn't always work, but we like where we play is awesome, and when that game is at our place, we love it. We love having it there, but we're excited to go take it on a bigger stage for sure.
That's like taking Set the Tone to a whole nother level, right? With the
Oh yeah.
flyover and that just dramatic impact of, the weight of that is really sweet. And of course, the blueprint for something like this has been laid not so long ago. Ithaca, Cortland, they play their 2022 Cortica Jug game in Yankee Stadium. I actually had the chance to be in their previous game in MetLife. That was an incredible atmosphere. I was there in a recruit capacity on the field. I didn't get to see the one in Yankee Stadium, but that atmosphere looked incredible. I have to imagine that played into this idea.
I would say we definitely just love the brand of the U.S. Coast Guard, and we played off of, and our coach is a Cortland grad, so he knows everything about it. Our former head coach is an Ithaca grad, so Cortica comes up a lot.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I I think the blueprint from out in Wisconsin with the Target Field games, the Tommy Johnny game,
Yep.
back a decade ago, I think it now was, but and rest in peace to that rivalry, which was unbelievable.
Right.
I wish we could get it back, but I I think we really just wanted to put the Coast Guard brand from a national standpoint, not just from the academy side, but just from the enlisted side and what we are as a service on display for everybody. Because I really do think the more people see it and get to know it, they'll understand just how special it is to be in the Coast Guard. And what better way to do that than the oldest ballpark in America with a huge rivalry game. So I definitely think we took something from our New York counterparts, and the Bostonians would love to say that they did it better because that's just how they operate up in Boston and New York. But it is what it is,
Yep.
and I'm excited to be doing it.
That's how you got to go and one up them, right? That's the mindset. Maybe not from y'all, but from the event operations
Mm-hmm.
standpoint. How many questions though have you gotten already? I'll paraphrase. How the hell are they going to play the football game? For people who don't know about these previous events, how the hell are you going to play a football game instead of a baseball park? How many times does that come up?
So a lot of people do ask because thankfully there is a kind of a blueprint for them because they have the Fenway Bowl, and they've hosted Harvard Yale played there a couple years
Yep.
back. I think Maine and UMass played there one time as well. But the most unique part is sharing a sideline.
Yeah.
That's the biggest piece of it. I know Fenway has their own external reasons why they love to host football from a field management standpoint because they move the mound, and I think they get a much better deal when the football's done is they get to replace the whole field, something along those lines. But
Really?
um, yeah, I think they really enjoy having football there. But it is tight. We'll come out of the home dugout, if you will, and we'll share a
That's
sideline.
awesome.
And there's talks of trying to put some Coast Guard assets behind the sidelines.
Yep.
A Kings Point asset of some kind, a small boat. I'm not sure um,
Okay.
what they have in their repertoire for toys, if you will. But
Yeah, to
yeah,
say it lightly,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. I don't really know. I'm not a merchant mariner, so I can't tell you. Um,
Very fair.
but I think the most unique thing is sharing a sideline, and then the game day ops for a staff of 5 versus a staff of 40 is very different. So, I'm not. We have 4 paid coaches, and then we have a lot of awesome volunteers. So we're really just hoping to get in there and play a solid, sound football game and answer the questions before they get asked, I guess is the best way to put it.
100%, 100%. And again, some of this may very much still be TBD, but you talked about the flyover earlier on. I have to imagine we're bringing out everything we can prior to kickoff. Is there anything you can share about that?
I mean, that's up to the people who run the airspace. If it were up to
Okay.
me, I'd
Okay.
have every type of Coast Guard asset flying over that thing, a C-130, an H-144. I'd have, the Dolphin and the Jayhawk, and
Yes.
we have the Commandant has a plane. I'd have that thing fly over, even though he's going to be in the stands. But we're gonna put a couple cutters in the Boston area. We're gonna have some black hulls and some white hulls, I would imagine. Our white hulls are more our law enforcement ships. Our black hulls are our buoy tenders. That's where my heart's at because I was on 2 buoy tenders as a first couple tours. So
That's
I
awesome.
love seeing the buoy tenders. They're the O linemen of the Coast Guard, so I have a
I like
soft
that.
spot for them.
I like that a lot. That's pretty good. And I guess to close it off, man, what do people need to know football wise about this Coast Guard squad going into 2025 that maybe haven't been following along with you guys?
I think if you're a Service Academy football nut, we're really interesting because we
Okay.
are not a triple option team.
Mhm.
We are probably as far from it as you can get,
Yep.
besides being an air raid team. But we do run the ball effectively. We have a great offensive line coach. He's our offensive coordinator. I love working for him. Um, we have just a group of guys that they actually are living and breathing uh, service academy football in a way that the other 3 services right now, Army, Navy, and Air Force at that level, they're so football oriented now that they're not doing what our guys are doing, and that's waking up and going to class right up until 4, and then they only get about an hour and a half to practice, and then they're hitting the books after they eat dinner. So I think just watching us from and how we're able to move the ball offensively and how we're able to be different than the other academies because we are different from the other academies in the best ways possible. Um, I think that's just something. If you're a football fan, it's just fun to see a service academy not running fullback belly and
Yep.
fullback lead and quarterback
Yep.
follow. As much as I grew up on it, I love what we do now, and the proof is in the pudding. Offensively, we've been very very sound the last 3 years. We need to get better on defense, and we're doing everything we can to just be as solid as possible going into that week 1 game because it's going to be a really fun year. It's a little bittersweet, probably my last one back in my alma mater for a little bit. So I'm wanting it all to slow down already. So
I hear you, man. And as soon as that, August, September roll around, it'll be anything but, right? You're going to be
link.
flying through this thing. And that's an exciting deal. Different in all the best ways. I think it's a very great way to describe it for someone maybe on the outside like myself. And talk about it's the epitome of balance, right? At the D3 level. That's the epitome of balance and making these guys incredibly well rounded. But thank you, Coach. That's all I got for you, man. I'm really excited about this. I was already excited. I'm even more pumped now about the prospect of this. This is going to be something that I think we can hopefully get a lot of eyes on. I know both the respective academies will have some great turnout for something like this.
Absolutely. And I'm going to take my platform here and just make a blanket announcement. If you are a high school coach listening to this, if you are a college player listening to this, or a high school player, and you are looking for a completely free education, just like the other service academies, Army, Navy, Air Force, and you want to get paid while you're in college, and you want to have the opportunity to serve your country and save people's lives, be the reason that someone gets to go home to their family at night, uh, you are doing yourself a disservice and you're doing this country a disservice if you are not looking into the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. It is a wonderful institution where we train leaders, just like Jeff Monken always says. Army is the premier leadership institution in the United States. We're the premier life-saving institution in the United States. And we like to say we're your U.S. Coast Guard Academy because our goal is to serve you. And so if you're a high school coach or a high school player and you have a heart for service and you want to play competitive college football, please give all your options an opportunity, no matter where you are in the country, because this is an amazing atmosphere. It's an amazing walk of life, and the brotherhood you make there, and then in the fleet as well. You get to serve alongside those same guys you're fighting with every weekend. So I can't say enough about the place, and I love it. I'll miss it. And I always just want to say, go Coast Guard, beat Kings Point.
You're the man. Incredibly, incredibly well said, Coach. You're the absolute man. I appreciate you for taking some time tonight, and definitely looking forward to seeing this Bear squad this fall, man.
Thanks very much.
Absolutely. See you.